Hello, welcome to God is Near, and I am also praying with you in this video to our God. So let's begin.
My child, stop everything you are doing right now and listen to me carefully because what I am about to reveal to you has been kept hidden for a reason that your human mind could not have understood until this very moment. But today, in this exact hour, the time has finally come for you to understand what has been happening in the unseen places of your life, while you walked through days believing that heaven was silent and mercy had forgotten your name. There are seasons when I work in complete silence, not because I have forgotten you, not because I have abandoned your prayers, not because your tears went unnoticed or your cries fell on deaf ears, but because some things must be built in secret before they can be revealed in the open. What I am about to tell you concerns something I have been constructing behind the scenes of your life, something you never saw forming. Something you never knew was being assembled piece by piece while you were busy wondering if I was still listening to the prayers you whispered in your darkest nights. I have been listening. Every word reached me. I have been moving. Every situation was being addressed. I have been working in ways your human eyes could never perceive, in places your mind could never reach, in dimensions your understanding could never fully grasp. And now, because this season requires your awareness, because what is coming demands your preparation, because the shift that is approaching cannot find you unprepared, I am pulling back the curtain just enough for you to see what mercy has been building while you thought nothing was happening. You have been walking through days believing that your prayers disappeared into silence. You have been carrying questions that felt too heavy for your heart, wondering why certain doors remained closed no matter how hard you knocked, why certain answers never came no matter how desperately you pleaded, why certain situations seemed frozen in place no matter how many tears you shed or how many nights you spent on your knees begging for change. You looked at your circumstances and saw stillness where you needed movement. You looked at your life and saw waiting where you needed progress. You looked at your prayers and wondered if they ever reached beyond the ceiling of your room, if they ever traveled past the clouds, if they ever arrived at the throne where decisions about your life are made. But I tell you today with absolute certainty that nothing was still. Nothing was frozen. Nothing was ignored. Nothing was forgotten. Nothing was overlooked. Every prayer you whispered reached me before the words fully left your lips. Every tear you cried was collected in vessels of remembrance before it touched the ground. Every silent groan of your heart was heard and recorded before your mind could even form it into language that made sense to you. And while you saw nothing changing on the surface, while your eyes reported stagnation and your circumstances confirmed delay, I was restructuring everything beneath the visible layer of your reality. There are things I do in hidden places that must remain hidden until the appointed time arrives. If I revealed every detail of my work while it was still forming, your mind would try to help me finish it. Your thoughts would race ahead of my timing and create anxiety where I intended peace. Your hands would reach for what was not yet ready to be held, and in grasping prematurely, you would damage what needed more time to solidify. And in trying to assist what only I can complete, in trying to speed up what only I can time correctly, you would accidentally delay what mercy was already perfecting according to a schedule you could not comprehend. So I kept you in the dark, not to punish you with confusion, not to torment you with uncertainty, not to make you suffer unnecessarily, but to protect you from premature revelation that would have done more harm than good. I allowed you to wonder because wondering kept you dependent on my voice rather than your own understanding. I permitted questions because questions kept you seeking my face rather than settling for easy answers that would have satisfied your mind but starved your spirit. I let certain answers remain hidden because hidden answers kept you close to my presence, listening for my whisper in the silence, watching for my movement in the stillness, trusting even when you could not trace my hand or explain my ways. But now the season of hiddenness is shifting. Now the chapter of concealment is closing. Now the time has come for you to understand that what looked like divine silence was actually divine construction. What felt like heavenly distance was actually heavenly focus. What seemed like unanswered prayer was actually answered prayer working its way toward visible manifestation through paths you could not see and timelines you could not control and methods you could not predict. Do not leave this message now, because what I am about to explain will help you understand why your spirit has felt unusually restless lately, why sleep has been difficult, why your emotions have been unpredictable, and why something inside you has been sensing change that your eyes cannot yet confirm. There is a stirring inside you that you cannot fully explain, no matter how hard you try to analyze it or categorize it or dismiss it as mere emotion. You have felt it in quiet moments when the noise of the world faded and something deeper rose to the surface of your awareness. You have sensed it in the middle of ordinary tasks when suddenly a wave of anticipation washed over you without any obvious trigger. You have noticed it in the way your spirit responds to certain thoughts about the future, a quickening that seems disconnected from your current reality, but deeply connected to something approaching from beyond what you can see. You have wondered if you were imagining it, if your mind was playing tricks on you, if hope was deceiving you into expecting things that would never actually happen. You have questioned whether it was just emotional restlessness born from waiting too long without visible results. You have considered the possibility that you were simply tired of your current circumstances and projecting desire onto neutral feelings. But I tell you the truth that settles all questions. What you have been sensing is real. It is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking. It is not emotional fatigue creating false signals. It is perception. It is discernment. It is your spirit picking up frequencies from realms your natural senses cannot access. Your spirit has been detecting movement in the unseen realm where my work has been progressing according to plan. The human spirit is more perceptive than the human mind often realizes or gives credit for. While your thoughts have been occupied with daily concerns, bills and responsibilities and relationships and problems that demanded your attention, your inner being has been detecting movement in dimensions your eyes cannot access and your logic cannot explain. That restlessness you feel is not anxiety about the future. It is anticipation of the future. It is not fear of what might happen. It is recognition of what will happen. It is your spirit recognizing that what has been prepared in secret is approaching visible manifestation, and nothing can stop it now. I have been building something for you that you never asked for in exact words, because your understanding was too limited to know what you truly needed. You prayed for breakthrough, but I heard the deeper prayer beneath your words, the longing for complete transformation that your vocabulary could not capture. You asked for provision, but I understood the fuller need behind the request, the desire for security that went beyond money into peace of mind and trust in my faithfulness. You cried out for change, but I saw the complete renovation that was actually required for your next season, the reconstruction that would make temporary fixes irrelevant. And because I always answer according to what you truly need rather than only what you specifically request. Because I see the whole picture while you see only fragments, because I understand your tomorrow while you struggle to manage your today. I have been constructing something larger than your prayers, described something more complete than your words could capture. Something that addresses not only what you asked, but also what you did not know to ask, not only what you identified as problems, but also what you could not see as problems, but were problems nonetheless. This is why the answer has taken longer than you expected. This is why the timeline exceeded your predictions. This is why patience was required beyond what felt reasonable. Small answers arrive quickly because small answers address small needs with small solutions that require small effort. But I was not building something small for your life. I was building something that would shift the entire foundation of your situation. I was not patching the old structure that was crumbling. I was preparing something entirely new that would never crumble. I was not repairing what was broken in ways that would require future repairs. I was replacing it with what was never meant to break, what was designed for permanence, what was constructed for generations rather than moments. You thought delay meant denial. That was a lie the enemy whispered to discourage you during the waiting. You believed slow meant no. That was a deception designed to make you give up right before breakthrough arrived. But delay often means magnitude. The longer heaven waits to reveal something, the larger that something often turns out to be. Quick answers solve immediate problems but often leave root issues untouched. But some answers are designed to solve problems you have not even encountered yet, to prevent struggles you would have faced years from now, to position you for opportunities that do not yet exist in visible form, but are being prepared in dimensions you cannot see. What I have been building for you falls into this second category. It is not a quick fix for a temporary frustration that will be replaced by another frustration next month. It is a foundational restructuring that will affect multiple areas of your life simultaneously, that will change how you experience relationships, finances, health, purpose, influence, and destiny itself. And because foundations must be laid carefully, because structures meant to last cannot be rushed without compromising integrity. Because what is built too quickly often falls apart just as quickly, I took the time necessary to build it right, even though that time felt unbearable to you, even though the waiting seemed cruel, even though patience demanded more from you than you thought you had to give. Write Amen if you believe God is working even when you cannot see it, even when silence surrounds you, even when circumstances contradict the promises you are holding onto. My child, you need to understand what has been happening in the spiritual realm concerning your situation, because without this understanding, you will not fully appreciate what is about to become visible in your life. There have been battles fought on your behalf that you never knew were being waged. There have been conflicts in unseen dimensions where your name was the territory being contested. There have been victories won by forces assigned to your protection that you will never fully comprehend this side of eternity. There have been blockages being removed that you never knew existed, obstacles that were positioned against your progress long before you even knew what direction you were supposed to be moving in. There have been pathways being cleared that you never knew were obstructed, routes to your destiny that were blocked by resistance that only spiritual intervention could remove. There have been doors being unlocked that you never knew were sealed, opportunities that were being prepared for you, but were inaccessible until certain conditions were met in realms you cannot see. The reason certain things in your life felt stuck was not because I had forgotten you, or because your prayers were ineffective, or because you lacked faith, or because you had done something wrong that disqualified you from blessing. It was because unseen resistance had positioned itself against your progress, and that resistance had to be dismantled before forward movement could become visible in your circumstances. You cannot walk through a door that is still blocked by invisible obstacles, no matter how much faith you have or how hard you try. You cannot receive what is still being contested in unseen places, no matter how desperately you need it or how loudly you pray. You cannot enter a season that is still being fought for in dimensions beyond your awareness until the battle is won and the territory is secured. But I fight battles you never see because I do not need you to see them for them to be real and effective. I remove obstacles you never knew were there because your ignorance of their existence does not diminish my awareness or my ability to deal with them. I clear paths in the darkness before you ever walk them because I go before you and prepare the way before you take the first step. And while you waited, wondering why nothing was moving, questioning whether your prayers had any effect, Heaven was systematically defeating every force that had positioned itself between you and what I prepared for your future. Angels were dispatched with assignments that concerned your breakthrough. Authority was exercised in places you have never visited and will never visit in your earthly life. Powers that had claimed illegal territory over your situation were confronted by forces greater than themselves. Principalities that had established strongholds against your progress were challenged and displaced by command that could not be resisted. You did not see any of this because spiritual warfare rarely becomes visible to human eyes while it is happening. You saw only the silence. You experienced only the waiting. You felt only the frustration of doors that would not open and situations that would not change. But behind that visible stillness, aggressive activity was taking place on your behalf. Strategic movements were being executed according to plans established before you were born, and victories were being secured that would eventually manifest as breakthrough in your natural circumstances. The results of that warfare are about to become visible in ways that will leave no doubt about divine intervention. The walls that were holding back your breakthrough have been broken down beyond repair. The gates that were keeping your blessings locked away have been shattered and cannot be restored. The forces that were speaking delay and denial over your life have been silenced and stripped of their authority to hinder you further. Some of those obstacles were spiritual in nature, requiring spiritual solutions that no human effort could provide. Resistance in unseen realms that required unseen warfare fought by beings you have never met, but who know your name and your assignment. Angels were sent with specific instructions concerning your situation. Authority was exercised by those who hold jurisdiction in dimensions beyond physical reality. Principalities that had claimed territory over your situation, that had established themselves as gatekeepers blocking your progress, were confronted by power greater than their own and displaced from positions they thought were permanent. Some of those obstacles were relational, requiring adjustments to the people surrounding your life. People who would have hindered your next season needed to be repositioned before you could move forward. I shifted hearts that were set against you without them even knowing why their attitudes changed. I redirected paths of those whose presence in your life would have corrupted your blessing. I caused certain connections to fade, while preparing others to emerge at the right moment when you would be ready to receive them. You may have noticed people pulling away without explanation in recent months or years. You may have experienced relationships ending without clear reason, conversations that simply stopped, connections that mysteriously dissolved. You may have felt confused by sudden distance from people who once seemed close, wondering what you had done wrong or what had changed. But I was editing your circle before your breakthrough arrived, because not everyone who was part of your waiting season was meant to be part of your fulfillment season. Not everyone who walked with you in wilderness would have been healthy to walk with you in promised land. Not everyone who seemed like a friend during your struggle would have remained a friend during your success. Some of those obstacles were internal, requiring transformation in your own heart and mind before external blessing could be safely received. Patterns of thought that would have sabotaged your blessing needed to be exposed and addressed before the blessing arrived. Hidden wounds that would have distorted your response to breakthrough needed healing before breakthrough became reality. Areas of your heart that would have mishandled what I was preparing, that would have turned blessing into burden through wrong attitudes or wrong actions, needed strengthening before I could release what was built for you. This is why the process took time. This is why patience was not optional but essential. This is why the waiting was not punishment but preparation. I was not only preparing something for you out there in the future. I was also preparing you for something, shaping your character, refining your perspective, strengthening your foundation so that you could handle what was coming without being destroyed by it. And preparing the recipient is as important as preparing the gift, perhaps even more important. A blessing released to an unprepared heart can become a burden that crushes rather than elevates. An opportunity given to an unstable foundation can become a collapse that devastates rather than develops. A door opened for someone who is not yet ready to walk through, it can lead to destruction instead of destiny. I have seen it happen countless times throughout human history, people receiving what they asked for before they were ready for it, and the blessing becoming their downfall because they did not have the character to steward what they had been given. I refuse to let that happen to you. I love you too much to give you things that would destroy you. I am too invested in your future to release blessings that would corrupt your present. So I took the time to work on both sides of the equation simultaneously. I prepared what was coming to you while simultaneously preparing you for what was coming. I built the blessing while building the character that would steward the blessing properly. And now, as this message reaches you, as these words enter your spirit and lodge in places that your conscious mind may not even fully access, both preparations are nearing completion. The gift is almost ready. The recipient is almost ready. The timing is almost right. And when all elements converge, when everything I have been building comes together at the appointed moment, the breakthrough will be undeniable. Stay until the end of this message because I will tell you what must change in your posture as this new season approaches, what adjustments you must make to receive what is coming, and what attitudes you must release to enter what I have prepared. There are things about your current circumstances that are about to shift in ways you did not expect and could not have predicted even if you tried. Changes are coming that will surprise you, not because I enjoy surprising you or because I delight in catching you off guard, but because the fullness of what I prepared could not be comprehended in advance by your limited human perspective. Your mind would have struggled to believe the scope of what mercy was building. Your thoughts would have dismissed it as impossible, as too good to be true, as beyond what someone with your history could expect or deserve. So I kept the details hidden, not from cruelty but from kindness, not from distance but from intimacy that understood what you could and could not handle at various stages of the process. I let you hope in general terms while I worked in specific details that would have overwhelmed you if revealed too early. I let you pray for improvement while I constructed complete transformation. I let you ask for help with symptoms while I planned complete cure of diseases you did not even know you had. What is coming to you is not a small improvement to your current situation that will make things slightly better but essentially the same. It is a fundamental shift that will change how you experience multiple areas of life simultaneously. Relationships that have been strained will either be restored to health or replaced with something healthier that serves your destiny. Finances that have been tight, that have caused stress and worry and sleepless nights, will begin flowing through channels you did not know existed, from sources you could not have anticipated. Health concerns that have been lingering, whether physical or emotional or mental, will receive attention from directions you never anticipated, and solutions will emerge that seemed impossible. Opportunities that seemed permanently closed, doors that you had given up on ever opening, will reopen in unexpected ways at unexpected times through unexpected people. This is not wishful thinking designed to make you feel good temporarily. This is not empty promise that will dissolve when tested by reality. This is revelation of what I have been constructing while you waited and wondered and sometimes doubted. This is disclosure of what hiddenness was protecting until the appointed time arrived. This is why heaven seemed silent, because heaven was building, and building requires focus that casual conversation would have interrupted, concentration that constant updates would have disrupted. But now the building phase is ending. The construction is essentially complete. Now the revelation phase is beginning. The unveiling is about to commence. Now what was assembled in secret is preparing to emerge in the open where everyone will see it, where even those who doubted will have to acknowledge it, where the evidence will be undeniable and the results will be irrefutable. And I am telling you this today because your heart must be ready when it happens. Your mind must be prepared to recognize it when it appears. Your spirit must be positioned correctly to receive what is about to be released, rather than inadvertently blocking it through unbelief or fear or old patterns that no longer serve you. Many people miss their breakthrough not because it does not come, but because they are not ready when it arrives. They have spent so long in waiting mode that they do not recognize fulfillment when it appears in unfamiliar packaging. They have grown so accustomed to disappointment that they cannot believe good news when it finally reaches them, suspecting it must be too good to be true, or there must be some catch they are not seeing. They have built such thick walls of self-protection that they cannot receive blessings when heaven tries to deliver them, because their hands are occupied holding shields they no longer need. I do not want this to be your story. I do not want you to miss what I have prepared because your heart was still locked in waiting mode when the waiting ended. I do not want you to reject your blessing because it arrived in packaging you did not expect. I do not want you to sabotage your breakthrough because old thought patterns convinced you that good things do not happen to people like you. So I am warning you now before the shift becomes visible, while there is still time to adjust. So that you can align your posture with what is coming, soften your heart to receive what has been prepared, and prepare your hands to hold what they have been empty of for too long. Comment, I am ready for my breakthrough if you believe God is preparing something specifically for you in this season. My child, there are people connected to your life who have no idea what is about to change for you and through you. They have watched you struggle through seasons that seemed endless. They have seen you wait while others around you seem to advance. They have witnessed periods where it looked like nothing was working in your favor, no matter how hard you tried, or how much you believed, or how consistently you prayed. And some of them have formed conclusions about you based on what they observed during your difficult seasons. They have decided who you are and what you are capable of, and what you can expect from life based on the evidence they gathered while you were in process. They have written stories about your future based on chapters that were never meant to be the whole book. They have made predictions about your ceiling based on floors you temporarily occupied. But conclusions formed during someone's process are rarely accurate reflections of their destiny. A caterpillar in a cocoon does not look like what it is becoming, and anyone who judges the caterpillar's future by its current form will be completely wrong about what emerges when transformation is complete. A seed buried in soil does not resemble what it will produce, and anyone who dismisses the seed because it currently looks like a dead thing in dirt will be astonished by the tree or flower or fruit that eventually breaks through the surface. A person in their wilderness season does not display what they will carry when they reach their promised land, and anyone who forms permanent opinions based on temporary circumstances will have to revise their judgments when the season changes. Those who watched you struggle were seeing your process, not your outcome. They were witnessing your preparation, not your arrival. They were observing the cocoon and imagining it was the final form when in reality transformation was happening inside that they could not see and could not comprehend. They formed opinions about the seed without any concept of the forest it would produce. They judged the wilderness wanderer without any vision for the kingdom that wanderer would eventually establish. What I have built for you will change how people see you, not because you will change who you fundamentally are, but because what was hidden will become visible. The gifts that were overlooked because you had no platform to display them will be recognized when the platform emerges. The potential that was dismissed because circumstances seemed to contradict it will become undeniable when circumstances align with what I always saw in you. The calling that was questioned because results were not yet visible will be confirmed by results that no one can argue against, by fruit that speaks louder than any criticism. Some who doubted you will apologize when they see what emerges. Some who dismissed you will seek your help when they recognize what you carry. Some who walked away during your difficult season will ask to return when they see where your path has led. And you will have to make decisions about who belongs in your next season, because not everyone who wants to be part of your success was willing to be part of your struggle. Not everyone who wants to share your harvest was willing to help with your planting. I am telling you this now so that when it happens, you will handle it with wisdom rather than vengeance. You will not rub your breakthrough in anyone's face, because you will understand that their doubt was part of the process that kept you humble and dependent on my opinion rather than human opinions. You will not reject everyone who was absent during your waiting, because some absences were my protection for both of you, separations that prevented contamination and preserved what needed to be kept pure. But you will use discernment about who should have close access to your next season, because not every relationship that wants to continue is meant to continue. Not everyone who wants proximity deserves proximity. Not every voice that wants to speak into your life should be given that privilege. Your breakthrough will change more than your circumstances. It will change your circle, requiring new boundaries and new criteria for close relationship. It will change your responsibilities, requiring new systems and new structures to manage increased capacity. It will change your influence, requiring new wisdom and new caution about how you steward what reaches more people. It will change your daily life in ways you cannot fully anticipate until you are living them. This is why preparation matters so much. This is why I am speaking to you now, before the shift becomes visible, rather than after, when the adjustment would be more difficult. I want you to think carefully about how you will handle increased capacity before that capacity arrives. I want you to consider who you will invite into expanded opportunity before the opportunity expands. I want you to decide now, while your mind is clear and your heart is uncluttered by the distractions that success brings, how you will steward what you could not clearly see while you were still waiting for it. Wisdom prepares for what faith expects. If you truly believe breakthrough is coming, then start preparing now for how you will manage it. Clean your house before the guests arrive. Organize your systems before the volume increases. Clarify your values before the tests become more complex. If you truly trust that change is approaching, then begin adjusting your mindset to accommodate larger thinking, your schedule to accommodate greater demands, your priorities to accommodate higher stakes. The people who handle blessings best are rarely surprised by them, because they have been preparing even before the blessings arrived. They have been making room in their lives even before there was anything to fill the space. They have been strengthening their character even before that character was tested by increased responsibility and opportunity. Prepare now. Think now. Decide now who you want to be when what I have built becomes visible, because the shift is not distant anymore. It is near. And when it arrives, there will not be time to figure out how to respond. You will already need to know. The decisions will need to be made quickly, and if you have not thought through your principles in advance, you will make reactive choices rather than wise choices, and reactive choices often lead to regret. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more messages from heaven about what God is doing in your life, what He is preparing for your future, and how to position yourself to receive what is coming. There are habits you must release before your next season can fully manifest in your life. There are patterns of thinking that served you during waiting, but will hinder you during fulfillment. There are emotional responses that protected you during wilderness, but will isolate you during promised land. There are behaviors that were necessary for survival, but become toxic when survival is no longer the goal. Survival mode was necessary when survival was the actual goal, when getting through each day was victory enough. But survival mode becomes a prison when the season changes and the goal shifts from surviving to thriving. You cannot flourish while operating with survival programming. You cannot expand while clutching scarcity mindset. You cannot receive abundance while your hands are formed into defensive fists. Defense mechanisms were appropriate when attack was constant, when every direction brought threat, when trust was consistently violated. But defense mechanisms become barriers when the season changes and receiving becomes more important than protecting. Walls that kept danger out also keep blessings out if they remain standing past their purpose. Shields that protected your heart also prevent your heart from being touched by good things if you refuse to lower them. I am asking you to examine yourself honestly, with courage and without excuse. What patterns have you developed during your difficult season that will not serve you in your blessed season? What automatic responses did you cultivate for survival that will now hinder thriving? What walls have you built for protection that will now block the very blessings I am trying to release? What habits of scarcity have you adopted that will prevent you from receiving abundance when it arrives? Some people stay poor even when money arrives because their mindset remains locked in poverty, and poverty mindset will sabotage wealth every time. Some people stay lonely even when relationship opportunities arrive because their heart remains locked in isolation, and isolation patterns will destroy connection every time. Some people stay defeated even when victory arrives because their thinking remains locked in failure, and failure mentality will corrupt success every time. The external circumstances change, but the internal patterns do not, and eventually, the internal patterns reshape the external circumstances back into what they were before. The prison inside rebuilds the prison outside. The limitation within recreates the limitation without. This is why some people cycle through the same struggles repeatedly despite apparent breakthroughs. They received external change but never accomplished internal transformation. I do not want this to happen to you. I have worked too long building what is coming to your life to watch you dismantle it with unchanged patterns that belong to your old season. I have invested too much in your breakthrough to see it wasted by an unprepared heart that cannot hold what it receives. I have fought too many battles on your behalf to watch you surrender the territory through self-sabotage born from unrenewed thinking. So I am calling you now, before the shift arrives, while there is still time for adjustment, to examine what must change inside you so that what I release around you can actually take root and flourish, rather than being rejected by internal conditions that are hostile to growth. This is not condemnation. Please hear my heart in these words. This is not criticism of who you have been during your waiting, as if you failed some test or proved yourself unworthy. You did what you had to do to survive difficult seasons. You developed patterns that served real purposes during real struggles. You built walls because walls were necessary when everything around you was attacking. I do not fault you for any of it, but this is instruction for who you must become to steward your fulfillment. This is coaching toward transformation that positions you for what is coming rather than what was. The skills that got you through the wilderness are not the same skills that will help you prosper in the promised land. Adaptation is required. Growth is necessary. Change is not optional if you want to keep what you are about to receive. The question is whether you will change intentionally through cooperation with my spirit or be forced to change through painful lessons that could have been avoided. I prefer to teach you gently through words spoken in love rather than harshly through consequences suffered in regret. That is why I speak so directly now, while you have the opportunity to adjust before adjustment becomes painful. That is why I am addressing not only what I have built out there for your future, but also what you must adjust in here, in your heart and mind and patterns, before that future arrives. I want your breakthrough to become your permanent foundation, rather than a temporary experience that collapses when tested. I want what you receive to multiply in your hands rather than slip through fingers that do not know how to hold abundance. I want your promotion to lead to more promotions rather than a dramatic fall back to where you started because you could not handle the elevation. My child, I need you to understand that what I am releasing to you also carries responsibility that you must prepare to bear. Blessing is never just for consumption. It is never simply about your comfort or pleasure or enjoyment. It is always also for distribution. What I give to one person is almost always meant to flow through that person to many others who could not receive it directly. Your breakthrough is not only about you. It never was. It is about everyone I intend to reach through you once you have been broken through. It is about every life I plan to touch through your hands once your hands are filled. It is about every person assigned to your future who will benefit from what you are about to receive. There are people assigned to your future who are currently waiting for the version of you that emerges after breakthrough. They cannot recognize you in your waiting season because your waiting season version does not carry what they need. They cannot receive from you while you are still in survival mode because survival mode does not produce overflow that can be shared. But when what I have built becomes visible, when your circumstances shift and your capacity expands, when you move from surviving to thriving and from receiving to distributing, these people will appear. They will recognize something in you that draws them. They will sense something you carry that they need. They will be assigned to your life with divine purpose that connects your breakthrough to their breakthrough. Some of them will need what you learned during your struggle. Your testimony of survival will become their instruction manual for endurance. Your story of waiting will become their encouragement for patience. Your journey through darkness will become their roadmap to light. Nothing you suffered was wasted. Everything was curriculum for future teaching assignments you do not yet know you will fulfill. Some of them will need resources that flow through your provision. Your financial breakthrough will become their opportunity for employment or partnership or support. Your increase will fund their assignments. Your abundance will resource their calling. What fills your hands will empty into their needs, and both of you will be blessed by the transaction. Some of them will need the influence that comes with your elevation. Your platform will become their access point to truth they could not have reached otherwise. Your voice will carry their message to rooms they could not enter on their own. Your position will open doors that their current standing cannot unlock. Your promotion is not just for your honor, but for their advancement through you. This is why breakthrough matters beyond personal comfort. This is why I build carefully rather than quickly, making sure the vessel can handle what it will carry. I am not just preparing a blessing for you to enjoy. I am preparing a conduit through which blessings will flow to many. I am not just promoting you for your sake. I am positioning you for kingdom purpose that extends far beyond your personal benefit. And conduits must be properly formed before they can carry what is meant to flow through them. Vessels must be properly tested before they can hold what is meant to be poured into them. Structures must be properly sealed before they can contain what is meant to be stored within them. If conduits are cracked, what flows through them leaks out before reaching its destination. If vessels are weak, what is poured into them breaks them rather than filling them. If structures are compromised, what is stored within them is lost rather than preserved. You have been in formation. The waiting season was not empty. It was shaping you into a conduit capable of carrying what will flow through you. You have been in testing. The difficult experiences were not random. They were proving your vessel capable of holding what will be poured into you. You have been in sealing. The preparation was not pointless. It was ensuring your structure capable of containing what will be stored within you. And now the preparation is almost complete. The formation is almost finished. The testing is almost done. The sealing is almost secured. The conduit is almost ready. The vessel is almost prepared. The structure is almost sound. The blessings are almost ready to flow. But remember as you receive that you are not the final destination. You are a station through which goodness travels to others. You are a reservoir that fills so it can empty into streams that water many fields. You are a storehouse that accumulates so it can distribute to many needs. Hold loosely what comes into your hands so that it can flow freely through your life to others who are waiting for it. Guard against hoarding what was meant for circulation, clutching it possessively as if it were only for you. And never forget that the measure you give is often connected to the measure you continue receiving. Generosity that releases keeps the supply flowing. Stinginess that clutches creates blockages that eventually affect even what you tried to keep. I am telling you this now so that when abundance arrives, you will manage it with kingdom principles rather than earthly fear, with open hands rather than clenched fists, with distribution mindset rather than accumulation mentality. Open hands receive more than closed fists because open hands can be refilled, while closed fists are full of yesterday's provision. Flowing rivers stay fresh while standing pools become stagnant. What moves through you blesses you, and it's passing far more than what sits with you in isolation ever could. Type "I receive this word" if your spirit witnesses that this message is for you. If something inside you recognizes that God is speaking directly to your situation. As I continue this message, I want you to understand something about the transitions that are approaching your life and how to navigate them with wisdom rather than confusion. Every breakthrough involves disruption before it produces settlement. Every advancement requires leaving behind before it allows taking hold. Every new season demands release of the old before it permits embrace of the new. This is the nature of transition, and you must be prepared for it. When what I have built becomes visible, your first experience may not be pure celebration. It may be mixed with the disorientation that comes whenever something familiar changes into something unfamiliar. Even good change is still change, and change triggers adjustment responses in human minds and hearts that can feel uncomfortable even when the change itself is entirely positive. You may feel uncertain at first, not because something is wrong, but because something is different. You may experience anxiety alongside excitement, not because the blessing is flawed, but because the blessing is new and new things require learning that you have not yet done. You may even grieve certain aspects of your old season, not because the old was better, but because the old was familiar, and familiarity has its own form of comfort that newness cannot immediately provide. This is normal. This is healthy. This is how human beings process transition from one season to another. I tell you this so that when these feelings arise, you will not interpret them as signs that something went wrong, or that you made a mistake, or that the breakthrough was not really from me. The feelings are simply evidence that you are human, and that humans need time to adjust to new circumstances regardless of how much they wanted those circumstances and how long they prayed for them. Be patient with yourself during the transition. Allow yourself to adjust at a reasonable pace rather than demanding instant comfort in new environments. Give yourself permission to learn the new season rather than expecting immediate mastery. Remember that disorientation is temporary while destiny is permanent, and the awkwardness of learning will give way to the confidence of having learned. Also understand that transitions often attract opposition precisely because they represent genuine advancement. When you are stuck in waiting, the enemy may leave you alone because you are not moving toward anything that threatens him. But when you begin advancing, when breakthrough manifests and promotion becomes visible, suddenly you become a more interesting target. This is not a warning to create fear, but an instruction to create readiness. Opposition to your advancement is evidence of your significance, not evidence that you should retreat. Resistance to your breakthrough is confirmation that what you are receiving matters in unseen realms, not suggestion that you should surrender it. When you encounter unexpected difficulties in the midst of obvious blessing, remember that the blessing is real and the difficulty is desperate attempt to make you relinquish what you have been given. Stand firm through the transition. Understand that new seasons often begin with new tests, Not because the season is wrong, but because new capacity must be proven and new territory must be secured. What you receive may be contested. What you gain may be challenged. What you enter may require fighting to keep. But none of this means you should not have received or gained or entered. It means that what you have is valuable enough to be contested, significant enough to be challenged, important enough to be fought over. The enemy does not fight over empty ground. He contests territory that matters. If opposition arises during your transition, interpret it correctly. You are carrying something the kingdom of darkness does not want you to have, which means you are carrying something the kingdom of heaven definitely intended you to receive. Now let me speak to you about the timing of what is approaching, because timing matters greatly in how breakthrough is experienced and stewarded. I do not reveal exact dates, because exact dates would create problems that general timing avoids. If you knew the precise day of your breakthrough, you would become so focused on that day that you would miss important preparations needed before it arrives. You would count down rather than gear up. You would watch the calendar rather than watch your character. You would wait for the moment rather than preparing for the moment. So I speak in terms of nearness rather than precision. I say soon rather than stating a date. I say approaching rather than naming a day. This keeps you alert without making you obsessed. This keeps you prepared without making you fixated. What I will tell you is that the season has shifted. The waiting period has essentially completed its purpose. What needed to be built has been built. What needed to be prepared has been prepared. The question is no longer whether breakthrough will come, but how you will respond when it arrives. You are in the final moments before manifestation. The gap between invisible preparation and visible revelation has narrowed to its smallest point. What was far is now near. What was distant is now close. What was coming is almost here. This does not mean you should sit passively waiting for something to happen to you. This means you should actively prepare for something that is happening, that is already in motion, that is already crossing from unseen into seen. Prepare your mind by renewing your thinking patterns to align with blessing rather than survival. Prepare your heart by releasing old wounds that would poison new opportunities. Prepare your relationships by clarifying who belongs close and who belongs at distance. Prepare your systems by creating structures that can handle increased volume. Prepare your habits by eliminating behaviors that served old seasons but would sabotage new ones. The breakthrough will not wait for you to be perfectly ready, because perfect readiness is impossible and would lead to infinite delay. But the breakthrough will be better received by someone who has prepared as much as possible than by someone who made no preparation at all and must figure everything out under pressure rather than in advance. I am giving you this time, these words, this warning, precisely so that you can prepare while there is still opportunity to prepare, so that when manifestation comes, you are not caught completely off guard, but instead step into what arrives with at least some readiness for what it demands. Let me speak now about what must change in your posture toward me as this new season approaches, because your relationship with me is the foundation that everything else is built upon. During your waiting season, you came to me desperate and empty and needy, which was appropriate for that season. You cried out because you were in pain. You sought me because you had nowhere else to go. You pursued my presence because you needed rescue that only I could provide. But as circumstances change, your posture toward me must mature beyond desperation into devotion, beyond need into love, beyond crying out for rescue into praising despite circumstances. If your relationship with me is entirely based on what you need from me, that relationship will weaken when your needs are met. If your pursuit of me is entirely motivated by your pain, that pursuit will fade when your pain is relieved. If your prayer life is entirely driven by problems, that prayer life will diminish when problems are solved. I want more than a crisis relationship with you. I want consistent communion that continues regardless of what your circumstances look like. I want communication that flows whether you are in valley or on mountaintop. I want connection that remains strong in abundance just as it was strong in scarcity. Many people pursue me intensely when they need something and then drift away when they receive it. I become a problem solver rather than a presence, an emergency contact rather than a constant companion, a resource for difficulty rather than a relationship for all seasons. I am warning you now about this tendency because breakthrough creates conditions where drifting becomes easy. When everything is hard, you cling to me because you have no other option. But when things become easy, when provision flows and problems resolve and life smooths out, the urgency that drove you toward me diminishes, and without intentional choice, so does the closeness. Decide now, before breakthrough changes your circumstances, that your devotion to me is not circumstantial. Commit now, while you still feel the desperation that makes commitment easy, that you will maintain this connection even when desperation fades. Choose now to be among the few who remain close in blessing, rather than among the many who drift away once they receive what they were seeking. Your breakthrough should deepen your relationship with me, not diminish it. Your answered prayers should multiply your gratitude, not reduce your communication. Your resolved problems should increase your praise, not decrease your attention. I am giving you this instruction now, because afterward will be too late for it to have the same effect. Once you are comfortable, the choice to remain close becomes harder to make than it is right now, while you still remember what it felt like to be desperate for my presence. The memory of desperation will fade. The lessons of waiting will become distant. The intensity of need will diminish. Lock in your commitment now, while the memory is fresh, while the lessons are recent, while the intensity is still present. Then when conditions change, your commitment will be established rather than needing to be created from scratch in an environment that makes creation much more difficult. Comment, I choose God in every season if you commit to pursuing Him in blessing just as intensely as you pursued Him in struggle. My child, as I near the close of this message, I want to leave you with understanding about how to wait in these final moments before the shift becomes visible in your life. The hardest part of waiting is often the end, not the beginning. This seems backwards to human logic, which would assume that waiting gets easier as it gets shorter. But the opposite is often true emotionally and spiritually. At the beginning of waiting, you still have fresh hope and energetic expectation. You have just started believing, and belief has not yet been tested by time. You have just started hoping, and hope has not yet been exhausted by repeated disappointment. You have just started trusting, and trust has not yet been strained by prolonged silence. But at the end of waiting, when breakthrough is near but not yet visible, when you have been believing for so long that belief has become heavy, when you have been hoping so long that hope has become tired, when you have been trusting so long that trust has become strained. Discouragement makes its final attempt to convince you that nothing will ever change. The enemy saves his strongest attack for your weakest moment, and your weakest moment is often right before your strongest breakthrough. He knows that if he can make you quit at the finish line, all of your endurance up to that point becomes worthless. He knows that if he can convince you to give up right before the answer arrives, your waiting was ultimately wasted. So he concentrates his effort in the final stretch, trying to make the last steps feel impossible, even though they are the shortest distance you have left to travel. You may feel unusual heaviness in coming days. You may experience unexpected doubts that seem to come from nowhere. You may face sudden temptations to give up, to settle for less than what you have been believing for, to accept partial when you were promised complete. This is not coincidence. This is not evidence that breakthrough is not coming. This is resistance making its last stand before being displaced by what heaven has prepared. When you feel this heaviness, remember this message. Remember that I told you the shift was near. Remember that I explained why the building phase took so long. Remember that I promised the preparation on both sides, both the blessing and the recipient, was almost complete. Resistance always intensifies right before breakthrough because resistance knows its time is short. Darkness always seems thickest right before dawn because darkness is about to be displaced. Pressure always feels strongest right before release because pressure is about to find relief. If you are experiencing increased struggle in the days following this message, do not interpret it as contradiction of what I have spoken. Interpret it as confirmation. The enemy only fights fiercely when he knows he is about to lose territory that matters. If nothing was truly changing, if breakthrough was not actually close, he would not bother with intensified attack. His aggression is evidence of your approaching victory, not evidence that victory is being denied. Stand firm in these final moments. Do not surrender ground that you have held for years just because the last hours feel heavy. Do not abandon hope that has sustained you through wilderness just because the edge of promised land feels difficult. Do not let go of the very thing that heaven is about to release simply because the final steps require unusual faith. The last steps often require the most faith precisely because they are the last steps. Anyone can believe at the beginning when enthusiasm is fresh. But believing at the end, when exhaustion is real and disappointment has accumulated, and the gap between promise and fulfillment has stretched patience to its limits, that is the faith that moves mountains. That is the faith that impresses heaven. That is the faith that will be rewarded when you cross the threshold into what awaited you all along. I am with you in this moment, these final steps, this challenging stretch between where you are and where you are about to be. I am with you in the transition, the uncomfortable space between old and new where neither feels quite right. I am with you as what was hidden begins emerging into what is visible, and your eyes finally see what your faith has claimed all along. And I will be with you when breakthrough fully manifests, and you stand amazed at what mercy built while you thought nothing was happening. I will be with you when the doors open, and the provision flows and the opportunities emerge. I will be with you when what I constructed in secret becomes undeniable in public. I will be with you through every moment of what is about to unfold. You did not wait in vain. Not a single day was wasted. Not a single tear was forgotten. Not a single prayer was ignored. You did not believe for nothing. Every act of faith was recorded. Every choice to trust was noted. Every decision to hope was honored in heaven. You did not hope without purpose. Every moment of expectation was building something. Every second of anticipation was creating capacity. Every hour of longing was preparing you for what you longed for. Everything you invested in trust is about to yield returns that exceed what your prayers described, that surpass what your faith imagined, that overwhelm what your hope expected. This is your season. This is your time. This is the moment when silence breaks and hiddenness ends, and what I built in secret finally steps into the light where everyone will see it, including those who doubted, including those who dismissed, including those who walked away assuming your story would never amount to much. Prepare your heart for what is coming. Release what needs to be released. Embrace what needs to be embraced. Position yourself in readiness rather than resistance. Open your hands to receive what they have been empty of for too long. Let go of what you have been clutching that needs to be released. Make room for what is approaching by releasing what should be departing. Position your spirit for receiving rather than defending. Lower the walls that were necessary before but are obstacles now. Shift from survival mode into thriving mode. Adjust your posture from waiting to receiving. The breakthrough is not someday. The breakthrough is near. The breakthrough is approaching. The breakthrough is almost here. And when it arrives, you will understand why the waiting was worth it, why the silence was necessary, why love sometimes hides what it is building until the building is complete. My child, you are loved beyond what you comprehend. more deeply than your heart can fathom, more completely than your mind can grasp. You are watched more carefully than you realize, with attention that never wavers and focus that never shifts. You are protected more thoroughly than you know, with coverage that extends beyond what your awareness can detect. And you are about to experience blessing more abundantly than you dared to imagine, more completely than you allowed yourself to hope, more suddenly than your exhausted expectations predicted. This is my word to you today. It is not empty comfort designed to make you feel good temporarily. It is not vague promise that dissolves when tested by reality. It is specific communication about what I have been doing and what I am about to do and what you must do in response. Receive it into your heart and let it take root. Believe it in your mind and let it reshape your expectations. Act on it in your behavior and let it transform your preparation. I am with you. I have always been with you, even when my presence was not perceived, even when my activity was not visible, even when my voice was not heard. And I will remain with you through every moment of what is about to unfold, every step of the journey that is about to begin, every challenge that comes with the change that is approaching. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. And what is coming to your life is evidence that you have been loved all along by a love that was working even when it seemed silent, building even when it seemed still, preparing even when it seemed passive. Now is the time. This is the season. The shift is near, and everything changes from here. Type Amen if you receive this word with your whole heart and believe that your breakthrough is near, that what God has been building is about to become visible, that the waiting is almost over and the manifestation is almost here.